Hello everyone, my name is Lucy. Today I'm going to talk about one of Jane Austen's works. Jane Austen was an author who lived in the 18th century. She wrote about dependence of women on marriage, which gave a new point of view at the time. One of her most famous works is the novel Pride and Prejudice, which was also made into new adaptations of books and movies. Pride and Prejudice is a story of a family living in the countryside just before the First Industrial Revolution. Mrs. Bennet's lifetime goal is to marry her 5 daughters off to good men. One day, a wealthy man who is single moves to the neighborhood. Mrs. Bennet does not miss this chance and tries to connect her oldest daughter, Jane, with the gentleman. Jane and Bingley seem to like each other. The second eldest daughter, Elizabeth, does not like Bingley's friend Darcy. That is because he seems overly arrogant. To make matters worse, a soldier whose name is Wickham tells gossip about Darcy to Elizabeth, which causes her to misunderstand Darcy. Meanwhile, Darcy is not interested in Elizabeth. Eventually, Bingley and Darcy leave town and Jane is disappointed. Some days later, Elizabeth goes to see her cousin and coincidentally reunites with Darcy. Darcy is very nice to Elizabeth for a while, and Elizabeth gets an unexpected proposal from him. Elizabeth tells Darcy what she had heard from Wickham and refuses to marry him. Darcy writes a letter to Elizabeth explaining the truth and frees her from prejudice, but he already left right after he wrote the letter. After a few days, she meets Darcy in his mansion dramatically. They treat each other kindly, and Elizabeth thinks Darcy might still love her. Elizabeth then comes back to hear that one of her younger siblings has run away with the soldier Wickham, which was the man who told Elizabeth gossip about Darcy. She later finds out that Darcy helped her sister's marriage be successful. Because of this, her sister's problem is quickly resolved. Elizabeth hears that Darcy and Bingley are visiting her village again. Darcy and Elizabeth are finally engaged. Jane and Bingley also get engaged. Pride and Prejudice is the book I encountered when I was an elementary school student out of a huge literature collection at the library. I read this story and recently bought it again in English, but there were many old words that I had never heard of. Apart from the fact that it was very hard for me to read, this book made me feel like I was Elizabeth. As soon as I strolled through the pages, I felt like I had traveled through time and became a young wise woman going through dramatic situations. This book was highly enjoyable despite the difficult words. I hope many people read it and feel the pleasure of swimming through an amazing story. Thank you for listening.